So I just wanted to let you know that in order for me to be able to make any progress and to be a leader for my people, I had to become a shop steward in order to have that backing. So the course, that when they offered the course, it was on scheduled for my days off. And I said, okay, well, as a leader, you're gonna have to make commitments. So I stayed in camp and took the shop steward course when I was supposed to be at home with my kids, but I had called them and said, you know what, this is very important and I need to do this. So they understood. I said, I'll see you in another month. So I was at camp for 7 weeks straight. I took the course and then I went back to work again, and it was very hard, but I'm glad I made that commitment because I also got the backing of the union now behind me, as opposed to just one person. But now I was a voice for all the First Nations people out there at camp. So we started calling our little secret meetings. Because as First Nations people, we don't want to cause any waves. We don't want people to know that, there's problems here and that we're going to deal with them. But it was kind of like we were very secretive right at first. And so I said, okay, I went around, we're going to have a meeting at 7:30, executive boardroom. I said, everybody show up. Word of mouth, right? It's like moccasin telegraph, they call it. So nobody knows, but only the Native people knew. So we'd show up. So that's how me and Daryl got it started. Also, we're taking notes. I said, I need you guys to start writing down, documenting what's been happening at work, things like that. What problems do you have? What issues do we need to solve? And so we started collecting those. I started collecting them and realizing, there are problems. They need somewhere to pray also, and they don't have that opportunity. So, and being First Nations person, we're very spiritual. We can't survive without praying. Very cultural and spiritual and very close-knit. So I had to come up with ways, okay, how am I going to deal with these issues here at camp? There's no support system in place for First Nations people, and that's why a lot of them would quit, or where they wouldn't say anything what was happening to them at work, and they would quit, or they would start drinking on their, after work or on the weekends or whatever. So people were getting into trouble. We didn't really get things going until they changed a policy at work, which was you can't have any flammable material in your room, or you can't light candles, you can't, can't have like matches. I guess if you have matches sitting there, well, as long as they're not lit, or, things like that. And so my coworker couldn't practice his spirituality anymore because he used to smudge in his room. And that's with sweetgrass and everything. So they, instead of talking with him, they just wrote him up and they said, if you do this one more time, you're fired. So we started coming out in the open after this. And all of a sudden, management and that, they were like, what? I said, I'm the chair of the Indigenous committee. I'm the chair of Wapasu First Nation, Métis and Inuit committee. And they were like, what? So they didn't even believe what was going on. I said, you need to change this. You need to accommodate. I said, First Nations people, they need to have their spiritual right. It's a human right. So they were like, okay, well, come back and talk to me later. It was in one ear and out the other. And I was like, well, this isn't going very well. But I kept on them. I said, well, when are you available for a meeting? I'll drop by at 3:00, I'd always make sure I had Daryl with me too. And then he would be documenting while I talked or whatever. So we always made sure that we always documented everything. And then they started really seeing that we were serious and that they did have to accommodate First Nations people in their spirituality. I said, after all, I said, this is our land. So they came back with a letter of understanding. They wrote, where we're allowed to practice our spiritual ways and cultural ways, and also where they would have teepees up in the other camps and culture rooms. And we were going to be able to celebrate our Aboriginal Day with pay, and where we were allowed to actually leave work and go and organize it with pay and go out there and celebrate our day, because our day is just a celebration of our existence. So that was like that's the day the Indian won, and I felt so proud, and I was like, I did this for us, for our people. If it wasn't for them believing in me, backing me up, if it wasn't for the union backing me up, none of this, I couldn't have accomplished anything.